Don't touch that dial. Tonight, Theatre Bristol On Air presents our holiday gift to you and your family with a special presentation of the timeless holiday favorite, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Welcome to this week's broadcast of Theatre Bristol On Air. I'm the director and your host, Glenn Patterson. The Theatre Bristol On Air ensemble features the talents of Fred Dunnigan, Dave Carter, Scott Costner, Terry Merrick, Brant Burgess, Steve Baskett, Mary Ellis Rice, Lucy Claire Foy, Garrett Humphrey, Steve Humphrey, Amy Reed, Hannah Broles, Ryan Stinson, David Maloney, Martha Hawk, Hunter Wilson, Michelle Shoemate, Laura Humphrey, Bailey Lowe, Caroline Humphrey, Andrew Hunt, Dakota Peak, and Leticia Pelser. The stage manager is Nicole Intagliata. The sound engineer is Camille Gray, and the producer is Samantha Gray. Now, don't touch that dial. It's time for A Christmas Carol.
Marley was dead, to begin with, as dead as a doornail. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I'm going to relate. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for, I don't know how many years. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood years afterward above the warehouse door, Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge, and sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather. Scrooge sat so that he might keep an eye on Bob Cratchit, his clerk, who sat in a dismal little cell beyond. Scrooge had a very small fire, nothing on such a bitter day. But the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. But he dared not replenish it, for Scrooge kept the coal box in his own room, and as surely as he came in with the shovel, Scrooge would predict that it would be necessary for them to part.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!
Humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle. You don't mean that, I'm sure.
I do, nephew. Merry Christmas. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Come then, what reason have you to be dismal? You're rich enough.
Humbug.
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. What is Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes around with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle!
Nephew, keep Christmas in your way. Let me keep it in mine.
Keep it? But you don't keep it.
Well, let me leave it alone then. Much good it has ever done you.
I have always thought of Christmas time as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of others as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good, and I say, God bless it. Thank you, Mr. Cratchit.
Let me hear another sound from you, Bob Cratchit, and you'll keep Christmas by losing your employment. You're quite a powerful speaker, nephew. I wonder you don't go into Parliament.
Now, don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow.
I'll see you in Hades first.
But why, Uncle? Why?
Why? Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love. Humph. Good afternoon.
But, Uncle, you never came to see me before I was married. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why can we not be friends?
Good afternoon.
I am sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute, but I'll keep my Christmas humor to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle,
Good afternoon.
and a Happy New Year,
Good afternoon.
and a Merry Christmas to you and yours, Bob Cratchit.
Merry Christmas to you, sir.
There's another fellow. Cratchit with 15 shillings a week, a wife, a family, talking about Merry Christmas.
Ah, this is Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago this very night.
I have no doubt his liberality is well represented by his surviving partner.
Liberality.
At this festive time of the year, Mr. Scrooge, it is more than usually desirable that we should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute, who suffer greatly at the present time.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the union workhouses, are they still in operation?
Oh, they are.
The treadmill and the poor law still in full vigor then?
Both very busy, sir. I wish I could say they were not.
Oh, I was afraid from what you said that something had occurred to stop them in their useful course. I'm very glad to hear it.
Under the impression that they scarcely furnish Christian cheer of mind or body to the multitude, a few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. What shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous?
I wish to be left alone. Since you asked me what I wish, sir, that is my answer. I don't make myself merry at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help support the establishments I have mentioned. They cost enough. Those who are badly off must go there.
Many can't go there, and many would rather die.
If they had rather die, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Good day, sir.
Good day.
Get back to work, Cratchit. What's that?
It appears to be a young boy out on the street, Mr. Scrooge.
Get away from my door! Be gone! And you. You'll want tomorrow off, I suppose.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. If I was to hold your pay for it, you'd think yourself ill-used. And yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
It is only one day a year, sir.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. Suppose you must have the whole day. But be here all the earlier the next morning.
I will, sir. Thank you, Mr. Scrooge, and Merry Christmas.
Eh?
I mean, good night, sir.
Scrooge took his usual melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, and having read all the newspapers and spent the rest of the evening with his account books, went home to bed. Scrooge lived in chambers that had once belonged to his deceased partner. They were a gloomy suite of rooms, and the building old and dismal, for no one lived there but Scrooge, the other rooms being rented out as offices. Now, it is a fact that there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door, except that it was very large. It is also a fact that Scrooge had as little of what might be called imagination about him as any man in the city of London. Then let anyone explain to me, if he can, how it is that Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw in the knocker not a knocker, but
Marley?
it was Marley's face. It was not angry or ferocious, but looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look, with ghostly spectacles turned up on its ghostly forehead. The hair was curiously stirred as if by breath or hot air, and though the eyes were wide open, they were perfectly motionless. As Scrooge stared at the phenomenon, it was a knocker again.
Humbug.
Up Scrooge went. But before he shut his heavy door, he walked through his rooms to see that all was right. Quite satisfied, he locked himself in, double locked himself in, which was not his custom, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel. As Scrooge threw his head back in his chair, his gaze happened to rest upon a bell, a disused bell that hung in the room. As he observed the bell, it began to swing.
It's a humbug still. I'll not believe it.
The same face, Marley in his usual waistcoat, tights, and boots. A chain was clasped about his middle. It was long and wound about him, and it was made, for Scrooge observed it closely, cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, deeds, and heavy purses made of steel.
Not believe it.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
How now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley. You don't believe in me.
No, I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheat. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of underdone potato. And there is more of gravy than grave about you, whatever you are. Mercy! Dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me?
Man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do, I must. But why do spirits walk the earth? And why do they come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death.
You are fettered with that chain. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard. I girded it on of my own free will, and of my own free will I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong toil you bear yourself? It was as full and heavy as this 7 long years ago. You have labored on it since. Yours is a ponderous chain.
Oh, Jacob Marley, speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have none to give. It comes from other regions, Ebenezer Scrooge, and is conveyed by other ministers to other kinds of men.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. But hear me, my time is nearly gone. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate.
You were always a good friend to me, Jacob. Thank you.
You will be haunted by 3 ghosts.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow night when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Expect the second on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. I must go now, Ebenezer Scrooge. Look to see me no more. And for your own sake, remember what has passed between us.
The apparition walked backward from him, and at every step the window raised itself a little, so that when the specter reached it, it was wide open. Scrooge became sensible of confused voices in the air, wailing, inexpressibly sorrowful. The ghost floated out upon the bleak dark night. Scrooge followed to the window, desperate in his curiosity. He looked out. The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. Many had been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. He had been quite familiar with one old ghost in a white waistcoat, with a monstrous iron safe attached to his ankle, who cried piteously at being unable to assist a wretched woman with an infant whom he saw below upon a doorstep. The misery with them all was, clearly, that they sought to interfere for good in human matters, and had lost the power forever. Scrooge tried to say humbug, but stopped at the first syllable. He went straight to bed and fell asleep upon the instant.
Awake, Ebenezer Scrooge.
What? Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
What business brings you here?
Your welfare.
I can think of nothing more conducive of my welfare than an uninterrupted night's sleep.
Your redemption, then. Rise and walk with me.
As the words were spoken, they passed through the wall and stood upon an open country road with fields on either hand. The city had entirely vanished. The darkness and the mist had vanished with it, for it was a cold, clear winter day with snow upon the ground.
Good heavens! I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
Scrooge was conscious of 1,000 odors floating in the air, each one connected with 1,000 thoughts and hopes and joys and cares, long, long forgotten.
Your lip is trembling, and what is that upon your cheek?
Why, it's only a pimple. Lead me where you will, spirit.
Do you remember the way?
Remember it? Why, I could walk it blindfolded.
Strange to have forgotten it for so many years.
Look, there's Collingsworth. His farm is just over the hill there. And John Williams. Oh, and look, spirit, there's Anna Smith. Over here, it's Ebenezer.
These are but shadows of the things that have been. They have no consciousness of us. They cannot see us or hear us. Do you know that building over there?
My old school.
It's not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
I know.
Let us go there now and see. The boy, there alone, with only his books to keep him company.
Yes, it is I, but alone. With Ali Baba to keep me company, and Valentine and his wild brother Orson, and the Sultan's groom turned upside down by the genie. Serve him right. I'm glad of it. What business had he to be married to the princess? Oh boy, I wish. Oh, but it's too late.
What is it you wish?
Nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night. I should have liked to have given him something, that's all.
Let us see another Christmas when you were older.
brother, dear brother.
Your younger sister, Fan.
I've come to bring you home, brother.
Home, little Fan?
Yes, home for good and for all, forever and ever. Father is ever so much kinder than he used to be. He spoke so gently to me one dear night that I was not afraid to ask him once more if he might come home. And he said yes, and sent me in a coach to bring you. Father has secured you an apprenticeship. You're to be a man and never come back here. But first, we're to be together all Christmas long and have the merriest time in the world.
She was always a delicate creature, whom a breath might have withered, but she had a large heart.
So she had, I'll not deny it.
She died a woman and had, as I think, children.
One child.
True. Your nephew.
Yes.
Do you know this warehouse?
Know it? I was apprenticed here.
Let's go in.
Why, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart, old Fezziwig alive again.
You're there! Ebenezer! Dick!
Dick Wilkins, to be sure. Bless me, yes, there he is. He was very much attached to me, was Dick. Poor fellow.
Ho, ho, my lads! No more work tonight! It's Christmas Eve, Dick! Christmas, Ebenezer! Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson.
You wouldn't believe how those two fellows went at it. They charged into the street with the shutters. 1, 2, 3 had them up in their places. 4, 5, 6 barred them and pinned them. 7, 8, 9 and came back before you could have got to 12, panting like racehorses.
Clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here. Hilly-ho, Dick. Cheer up, Ebenezer. Throw more fuel on the fire, lads. Let's have a roaring blaze. Trim the lamps and sweep the floor. We've a celebration to prepare for.
Clear away? There was nothing they didn't clear away, or couldn't have cleared away, with old Fezziwig looking on. It was all done in a minute.
Mrs. Miller and young Timothy. Oh, I'm so glad you could come.
In came a fiddler with a music book. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast, substantial smile. In came their 3 daughters, beaming and lovable. In they all came, one after another, some shyly, some boldly, some gracefully, some awkwardly. In they all came, anyhow and everyhow.
All right, everyone. Let's not just stand here. It's Christmas Eve. Who'll be the first to dance? Anyone?
I believe they're all waiting for us, my dear.
Well, I'll not disappoint my guests. Come, my dear, dance with me.
Oh, what a joyous time we all had.
A small matter to make these silly folks so full of gratitude.
Small?
Is it not? He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money, 3 or 4, perhaps. Is that so much that he deserves this praise?
It isn't that, Spirit, it isn't that. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words, in looks, in things so slight and insignificant that it is impossible to add and count them up. Well, what then? The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost a fortune. A fortune.
What is the matter?
Nothing particular.
There is something, I think.
No, I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk just now, that's all.
My time grows short. Quick.
Oh, Spirit, I remember this day all too well.
Ebenezer,
What is it, Belle?
I must speak to you regarding our engagement. I know another idol has displaced me in your affections.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
You speak of my dedication to my business, no doubt. Belle, there is nothing on which the world is so hard as poverty, and there is nothing it professes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
You fear the world too much. I have seen all of your nobler aspirations fall, one by one, until completely engulfed by the master passion, gain. Have I not?
What then? If I'm grown wiser, what then? I'm not changed toward you, am I?
Our contract is an old one. It was made when we were both poor and content to be so. You are not the man you were.
I was a boy.
Your own feelings tell you that you are not the man you were. That which promised happiness when we were one in heart is fraught with misery now that we are two. And I release you.
Have I ever sought release?
In word, no. But in a changed nature, in an altered spirit. Tell me this. If we now had no past engagement between us, would you seek me out and try to win me now?
You think not?
I would gladly think otherwise if I could. But I cannot. If you were free today and there was no understanding between us, would you seek me out and choose me now? A poor, dowerless girl who could bring nothing to a marriage but herself. Or choosing me. Do you not know the regret that would follow? I do. And so I release you with a full heart for the love of him you once were.
Belle, please.
You may have pain in this, but for a very brief time. And you will dismiss the recollection of it gladly as an unprofitable dream from which you profitably awoke. Goodbye, Ebenezer. May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
Oh, Belle, how wrong you were. The pain has never gone away. And you, young Ebenezer Scrooge, you were a fool to let her go. The spirit removed me from this place.
I told you these were shadows of the things that have been, that they are what they are. Do not blame me.
Remove me, I cannot bear it. Leave me, haunt me no longer. What? Back in my own room? Belle, why did I let you go? Why did I let you go?
Don't touch that dial. A Christmas Carol will continue in just a moment. Thank you for tuning in to Theatre Bristol On Air. We will return after this message recognizing our sponsors. Theatre Bristol On Air could not provide entertainment such as A Christmas Carol without support from our partners and sponsors. WETS, Tennessee Arts Commission, Leticia Peltzer ENT and Allergy Consultants, ETSU Cross-Disciplinary Studies, United Company Foundation, Citizens Bank, HVAC Incorporated, Summit BSR Roofing, Seaman Corporation, Burwell Construction, Stephanie A. Snelson DDS, Food City, Party Central, Guthrie Dentistry, M&M Accounting Service, Celebrate Rentals, Blackbird Bakery, WCYB, The Loafer, Bristol Herald Courier, Paramount Bristol, and the Home Depot. And now, back to A Christmas Carol, a special presentation from Theatre Bristol On Air. Don't touch that dial.
Awakening in the middle of a prodigiously loud snore and sitting up in bed to get his thoughts together, Scrooge had no need to be told that the clock was again upon the stroke of 1. I don't mind calling on you to believe that he was ready for a good broad field of strange appearances, and that nothing between a baby and a rhinoceros would have astonished him very much. Now, being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing. And consequently, when the bell struck 1 and no shape appeared, he was taken with a violent fit of trembling. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a quarter of an hour went by, yet nothing came. All this time, as he lay upon his bed, a blaze of ruddy light streamed upon it. He was powerless to make out what it meant. At last he began to think that the source and secret of this ghostly light might be in the adjoining room, from whence it seemed to shine. He got up softly and shuffled in his slippers to the door.
Come in, Ebenezer Scrooge.
He obeyed. It was his own room. There was no doubt about that, but it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling were so hung with living green that it looked a perfect grove. A mighty blaze went roaring up the chimney. Heaped on the floor to form a kind of throne were turkeys, geese, game, poultry, great joints of meat, long wreaths of sausages, mince pies, plum puddings, and seething bowls of punch. In easy state upon this couch there sat a jolly giant, glorious to see, who bore a glowing torch, and he held it up to shed its light on Scrooge.
Come in and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. You have never seen the like of me before.
Never.
Have never walked forth with my brothers in earlier years.
I don't think I have. Have you had many brothers?
More than 1,800.
A tremendous family to provide for. Spirit, conduct me where you will. I went forth last night on compulsion and learnt a lesson which is working now. Tonight, if you have anything to teach me, let me profit by it.
Here, touch my robe.
What's this? You brought me to the middle of the market?
Quiet, man. There's work for me here.
Wonderful choice, Mrs. Seymour. There's no finer-looking goose in the whole market, I'd say.
Oh, I quite agree, Mr. Michaels.
Here now, what's this? I've already claimed that goose myself.
Well, I'm afraid you're too late. I've just paid for it. If you wanted this one, you should have bought it straight away.
I told Mr. Michaels I wanted that one. Didn't I, Mr. Michaels?
Well, I don't know if that's exactly what I understood you
I picked that one out and turned to fill my basket with figs. And when I came back, I see you taking my goose.
It isn't your goose. I've paid for it just now, so it's mine.
Mr. Michaels
now,
has many other
Scrooge,
fine
see what a few sprinkles of incense from my torch can accomplish.
Allow, madam,
Ladies,
there is
ladies,
nothing to
please.
allow. You know, it is a bit of a silly thing to be arguing over, especially at Christmas. Here, you take this one. I'm sure Mr. Michaels has plenty of fine geese to choose from.
I'm sorry. I feel quite silly myself. You keep the goose. You've already paid for it.
Here now, Mrs. Martin. Look at this goose. I'd say it's every bit as fine as the other, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes! That is a fine bird. I wonder I didn't notice it before. I'll take it.
Oh, it is lovely. It seems to me, Mrs. Martin, that we've both done very well this morning.
Indeed we have. Here you are, Mr. Michaels. Thank you. And a Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
It seems your seasoning does much to improve the disposition.
It also seasons the food, so there'll be no finer tasting feast all year.
Is there a particular flavor in what you sprinkle from your torch?
There is. My own.
Would it apply to any dinner on this date?
To any kindly given. To a poor one most.
Why to a poor one most?
Because it needs it most. But come, let us be going. We have many stops to make.
Where have you brought me, Spirit?
This is the home of Bob Cratchit.
Shall we go in?
I shouldn't wish to disturb.
As with Christmas past, we will be unseen and unheard. Come along, Ebenezer.
Here now, slow down, you two. Come in, Peter.
We could smell the goose all the way down the street, Mother, and we knew it must be ours.
What has got your precious father then? And your brother Tiny Tim? And where's Martha?
Here she is, Mother.
Why, bless your heart alive, my dear. How late you are.
We had a great deal of work to finish up last night and had to clear away this morning, Mother.
Well, never mind, so long as you are here. Sit down before the fire and have a warm. Lord bless ye.
No, Father's coming. Hide, Martha, hide.
Here we are, Tiny Tim. Home at last.
Put me down now, Father. I can use my crutch.
Here, son. Hello, my dears. Is everyone ready for Christmas dinner?
Hello, dear.
Well, why the sad face? It's Christmas and we're all... wait, where's our Martha?
Not coming.
Not coming? Not coming for Christmas Day? But we've always been together for Christmas.
Surprise! Merry Christmas, Father.
Oh, Martha, not home on Christmas indeed. I wouldn't hear of it.
Here, Father. Let me take your coat. Come with me, Tim, and we'll finish setting the table.
And how did little Tim behave?
As good as gold, and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much, and he thinks the strangest things you ever heard. He told me, coming home, that he hoped people saw him in the church because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see.
Father, Mother, here's the goose.
Look at that! I don't believe there was ever such a goose cooked before in all the world. Quickly, everyone around the table. Now, do we all have punch? Good. A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
God
bless us all.
God bless us, everyone.
Spirit, the child, Tiny Tim, tell me if Tiny Tim will live?
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, oh no, kind spirit, say he will be spared.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none of my brothers will find him here. What then? If he be like to die, he had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Man, if men you be in heart, forbear that wicked thought until you have discovered what the surplus is and where it is. It may be that in the sight of heaven you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child.
Mr. Scrooge.
What?
I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
The founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and I hope he'd have a good appetite for it.
My dear, the children, Christmas Day.
It should be Christmas Day, I am sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Robert. Nobody knows it better than you do, poor fellow.
Christmas Day.
I'll drink his health for your sake and the day's, not for his. Long life to him, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt.
Well, Ebenezer Scrooge, we'll take our leave. Have no doubt, their spirits will rise when thoughts of you have left their midst.
What place is this?
A place where miners live who labor in the bowels of the earth. But they know me, see?
What is this? You take me out to sea?
Yes, Scrooge. Even here there are those who know me well. See that ship below? Let us go there.
A Merry Christmas, helmsman.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Captain.
The men are enjoying themselves tremendously below decks. It does my heart good to hear the old carols.
Yes, sir. Mine as well. The song they sang just now is a favorite of my wife and daughter.
Here then, I'll take the helm for a bit. Go down and join the other men.
Well, no, Captain, I couldn't do it. You shouldn't be worried with such a thing as this.
Nonsense. It's been too long since I felt the wheel in my hand. Now off with you. It's Christmas.
Are you in earnest, sir?
You are relieved of your station, helmsman. Get below. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. And a Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Wait, I know that laugh.
He said that Christmas was a humbug as I live. He believed it too.
My nephew.
More shame for him, Fred.
He's a comical old fellow, that's the truth, and not so pleasant as he might be. However, his offenses carry their own punishment, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he's very rich, Fred. At least you always tell me so.
What of that, my dear? His wealth is of no use to him. He doesn't do any good with it. He doesn't make himself comfortable with it.
I have no patience for him.
Oh, I have. I am sorry for him. I couldn't be angry with him if I tried. Who suffers by his ill whims? Himself. The consequence of his taking a dislike to us is that he loses some pleasant moments which could do him no harm. I mean to give him the same chance every year, whether he likes it or not, for I pity him. He may rail at Christmas till he dies, but he can't help thinking better of it if he finds me there year after year saying, "Uncle Scrooge, how are you?" If it only puts him in the mood to leave his poor clerk £50, that's something. And I think I shook him yesterday.
From the way you describe him, I doubt the devil himself could shake old Scrooge.
Oh, enough of that. Here, shall we have a game of Blind Man's Bluff?
Blind Man's Bluff? Why, Spirit, I remember that game. I played it often as a child.
Here, Topper, let me tie this cloth around your eyes. There. Can you see anything?
Nothing.
Now we'll spin you around, and you're off.
Now, who shall I find?
Oh, look out!
It seems that Topper has an uncanny ability to locate your sister, my dear.
I wonder why that might be.
This is a wonderful game, Spirit. Hello, young man, she's over here.
Here I come.
Oh, dear.
No, over here, over here.
Why, Scrooge, enjoying yourself?
Oh, look, I believe he has her now.
Oh, Topper, stop it. That tickles.
Why, it's you? I had no idea.
Now shall we try our hands at a game of yes and no?
Come, Scrooge, it's time we were going.
No, not yet, Spirit. Here's a new game. Just 1/2 hour, Spirit, just one.
No, Ebenezer Scrooge. My time is nearly up. We must be going.
Much they saw, and far they went, and many homes they visited, but always with a happy end. The spirits stood beside sick beds, and they were cheerful by poverty, and it was rich. It was a long night, if it was only a night, but Scrooge had his doubts about this. For while Scrooge remained unaltered in his outward form, the ghost grew older, clearly older, and Scrooge observed that its hair was gray.
Are spirits' lives so short?
My life upon this globe is very brief. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight at midnight.
Pardon me, Spirit, but I sense you are hiding something behind your robe. What is that? A claw?
It might be a claw for the flesh there is upon it. Look.
Why, it's 2 children. 2 horrible children. They're so ragged, scowling. Spirit, are they your children?
They are man's children. The boy is ignorance. This girl is want. Beware them both, but most of all, beware the boy, ignorance. For on his brow I see that written which is doom, unless the writing be seen.
Or have they no refuge or resource?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Spirit, where are you? Spirit, don't leave me yet, Spirit!
The bell struck 12. As its last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and lifting up his eyes, beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground toward him. It was shrouded in a deep black garment, which concealed its head, its face, its form, and left nothing of it visible, save one outstretched hand.
Am I in the presence of the spirit of Christmas yet to come? You are about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so, Spirit? Do you not speak to me, Spirit? Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I have seen. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear you company and do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? Lead on then, Spirit, lead on. The night is waning fast, and it is precious time to me, I know.
No, I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
What was the matter with him? I thought he'd never die.
God knows.
What has he done with his money?
I haven't heard. Lent it to his company, perhaps. He hasn't lent it to me, that's all I know.
It's likely to be a very cheap funeral, for upon my life I don't know anybody to go to it. Suppose we make up a party and volunteer.
I don't mind going if a lunch is provided, but I must be fed if I'm to go.
Well, I am the most disinterested among you after all, for I never wear black gloves and I never eat lunch. But I'll offer to go if anybody else will. When I come to think of it, I'm not at all sure I wasn't his most particular friend, for we used to stop and speak whenever we met. Bye-bye.
Spirit, what is the meaning of this? I know these men. Of whom do they speak? Wait, Spirit, where are you going? Ah, you wish me to follow you. Why have you brought me here? This is a bleak place, Spirit. This whole quarter reeks of filth and misery. Why do you point me to that shop? You wish me to go in? Very well. Who are these people?
All right. Let me see what you've got here.
Have a look at this bundle, old Joe. What do you suppose it's worth?
Sheets, towels, a little wearing apparel, 2 silver teaspoons, pair of sugar tongs, and a few boots. 12 for the lot.
12?
And not a penny more if I was to be boiled for not doing it. I always give too much to ladies. It's a weakness of mine.
Well then, Joe, take a look at my bundle. Who's the worse for the loss of a few things? Not a dead man, I suppose.
No, indeed.
If he wanted to keep him after he was dead, the wicked old screw, why wasn't he more natural in his lifetime? If he had been, he'd have had somebody to look after him when he was struck with death, instead of lying there, gasping out his last, alone, by himself.
It's the truest word that ever was spoke. It's a judgment on him.
What do you call this? Bed curtains?
Bed curtains.
You don't mean to say you took them down, rings and all, with him lying there?
Yes, I do. Why not? And don't drop that oil on them blankets.
His blankets?
Whose else do you think? He isn't likely to take cold without them, I dare say.
I just hope he didn't die of anything catching.
Don't you be afraid of that. I ain't so fond of his company that I'd loiter about if he did. Here now, look at this shirt. You may look through that shirt till your eyes ache, but you won't find a hole in it nor a threadbare place. It was the best he had. They'd have wasted it if it hadn't been for me.
What do you call wasting it?
Putting it on him to be buried, to be sure. Somebody was fool enough to do it, but I took it off again. He frightened everyone away when he was alive, to profit us when he was dead.
Spirit, I see. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now. Merciful heavens, what is this?
Scrooge recoiled in terror, for the scene had changed, and now he almost touched a bed. A pale light fell upon the bed, and on it, unwept and uncared for, was the body of this man covered up. Scrooge glanced toward the phantom. Its steady hand was pointing to the head.
Spirit, I understand you, and I would do it if I could, but I have not the power, Spirit. I have not the power. If there is any person in town who feels emotion caused by this man's death, show that person to me, Spirit. I beseech you.
The phantom spread its dark robe before him for a moment, like a wing, and withdrawing it, revealed a room by daylight where a mother and her children were. She was expecting someone.
Is it good or bad?
Bad?
We are quite ruined.
No, there is hope yet, Caroline.
If he relents, there is. Nothing is past hope if such a miracle has happened.
He is past relenting. He is dead. What the half-drunken woman whom I told you of last night said to me when I tried to see him to obtain a week delay was quite true. He was not only very ill, but dying then.
To whom will our debt be transferred?
I don't know. But before that time, we shall be ready with the money. And even if we were not, it would be bad fortune indeed to find so merciless a creditor and his successor. We may sleep tonight with light hearts, Caroline.
Let me see some tenderness connected with the death. Oh, Spirit, I've been here earlier. This is Bob Cratchit's house.
It must be near time for your father to be home.
Past it. But I think he's walked a little slower than he used to the last few evenings, Mother.
I have known him to walk with Tiny Tim on his shoulder, very fast indeed.
So have I, often.
But he was very light to carry, and your father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble.
Spirit, I see his crutch by the hearth, but where is Tiny Tim?
Hello, my dears.
Bob, you went today, didn't you?
Yes, my dear. I wish you could have gone. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is, but you'll see it often. I promised him I would walk there on a Sunday. My little child.
Tiny Tim. Poor Tiny Tim. Spirit, something tells me that our parting moment is at hand. I know it, but I know not how. Tell me what man that was whom we saw lying dead.
A churchyard. Here, then, the wretched man whose name he had now to learn lay underneath the ground. The spirit stood among the graves and pointed down to one.
Before I draw near to that stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be, or are they the shadows of things that may be only? Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends, but if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Say it is thus with what you show me.
Still, the spirit pointed downward to the grave by which it stood. Scrooge crept toward it, trembling as he went, and following the finger, read upon the stone of the neglected grave.
Ebenezer Scrooge! Am I the man who lay upon that bed? No, Spirit, no, no. Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for this visitation. Why show me this if I'm past all hope? Good Spirit, your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, present, and future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone.
He saw an alteration in the phantom's hood and dress. It shrunk, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost. Yes, the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own to make amends in.
I will live in the past, present, and future. The spirits of all three will strive within me. Oh, heaven and Christmas be praised for this. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees. Well, I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. I'm happy as an angel, as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everyone. A Happy New Year to all the world. I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. Quite a baby. Never mind, I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello, boy. What day is it?
What?
What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. Well, they can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow.
Hello.
Do you know the poulterers on the next street?
I should hope I do.
An intelligent boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the little prize turkey, the big one.
What? The one as big as me?
What a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk with him. Yes, my buck, that's the one.
It's hanging there now.
It is? Well, go and buy it.
Go on.
No, I am in earnest. Go and buy it and tell them to bring it here so I may give them directions where to take it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes, I'll give you half a crown. Ah, watch him run. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. He shan't know who sent it. Why, it's twice the size of Tiny Tim.
The chuckle with which he said this, and the chuckle with which he paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he sent it to Bob Cratchit's, and the chuckle with which he recompensed the boy were only exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again and chuckled till he cried. Shaving is not an easy task, for it requires attention, even if you don't dance while you're at it. But he managed, dressed himself all in his best, and at last got out into the streets.
What a beautiful Christmas morning!
He had not gone far, when coming toward him, he beheld the gentleman who had walked into his office the day before. It sent a pang across his heart to think how this old gentleman would look upon him, but he knew his path, and he took it.
Sir, wait a moment. My dear sir, how do you do? A Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Mr. Scrooge?
Yes, that is my name, and I fear it may not be pleasant to you. I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. Allow me to ask your pardon. And would you have the goodness, might I whisper in your ear?
Lord bless me! My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious?
If you please, and not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in the sum, I assure you.
I don't know what to say to such munificent...
Oh, don't say anything, please. Just come and see me again, will you?
I will.
Thank you. I am much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times over. Bless you. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Scrooge.
And now I must be off. I have family to visit.
Uncle Scrooge, is it truly you?
Yes, it is. I've come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?
Let you in? Bless my soul. My dear, look who's come to join us. It's Uncle Ebenezer.
Why, Uncle Ebenezer, a Merry Christmas to you.
And a Merry Christmas to you, my dear. The merriest Christmas I have ever offered. Can you forgive an old fool?
Please, Uncle, come this way. There's a great many folk I'd like you to meet. This is my dear friend, Topper.
A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Scrooge.
Oh, no, my boy, the pleasure is truly mine.
We were just starting a game of Blind Man's Bluff, Uncle. Would you care to join us?
Blind Man's Bluff? Why, I haven't played that in ages. Yes, nephew, yes, I will play.
Here, Topper, let me tie this cloth around your eyes. There. Can you see anything?
Not a thing.
Now we'll spin you around, and you're off.
She's over here. She's over here.
Fred, this was a marvelous party. I don't know when I've had such fun. And Mr. Scrooge, you were positively the spice of the evening.
Don't know
Many
what you're
years
talking
to
about.
make up for, my boy. Many years to make up for.
Dear Prudence, may I walk you home?
Yes, Topper, that would be lovely.
Thank you so very, very much. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, friend. Goodbye.
Good night to you all.
Good night.
Well, nephew, I suppose I must be off too.
Oh, Uncle, don't leave us yet.
No, I must be at work quite early tomorrow.
Now, Uncle, you haven't gone back to your old ways.
Oh, no. It's just that I have a little something special planned for Bob Cratchit in the morning, and it won't do if I'm late at all. So, I'd best be going. A Merry Christmas to you, Fred. Good night.
And to you, Uncle Ebenezer, Merry Christmas!
But he was early at the office next morning. Oh, he was early there. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late. That was the thing he set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock struck 9. No Bob. 1:15. No Bob. He was a full 18.5 minutes behind his time.
Cratchit, what do you mean by coming in here this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir. I am behind my time.
Yes, I think you are. Step this way, if you please.
It is only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Now I'll tell you what, my friend. I am not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer, and therefore I'm about to raise your salary.
What? Raise my salary?
Yes, raise your salary.
Help! Please help! Mr. Scrooge has gone mad.
Oh, no, Bob. I haven't gone mad. A Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family. We will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a bowl of Christmas punch. Now, make up the fires and buy another scuttleful of coal before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good an employer, as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, and little heeded them. For he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good at which some people did not have their fill of laughter in the outset. His own heart laughed, and that was quite good enough for him. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us, all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
Don't touch that dial. You have been listening to Theatre Bristol On Air. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation of our holiday gift to you and your family, the timeless holiday favorite, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I'm the director and your host, Glenn Patterson. The Theatre Bristol On Air Ensemble features the talents of Fred Dunnigan, Dave Carter, Scott Costner, Terry Merritt, Brant Burgess, Steve Baskett, Mary Ellis Rice, Lucy Claire Foy, Garrett Humphrey, Steve Humphrey, Amy Reed, Hannah Broles, Ryan Stenson, Dave Maloney, Martha Hawk, Hunter Wilson, Michelle Shoemake, Laura Humphrey, Bailey Lowe, Caroline Humphrey, Andrew Hunt, Dakota Peak, and Leticia Pelzer. The stage manager is Nicole Intagliata. The sound engineer is Camille Gray, and the producer is Samantha Gray. Please visit our website at theatrebristol.org to find other radio programs. On behalf of our radio ensemble, good night.
On behalf of Theatre Bristol, thank you for tuning in to Theatre Bristol On Air's presentation of A Christmas Carol. Congratulations to Director Glenn Patterson and the entire cast for a wonderful production. I hope you are giving them a big applause and that you enjoyed this classic that continues to move us and fill us with Christmas spirit. There will be more Theatre Bristol On Air, so stay tuned for upcoming auditions and opportunities, and subscribe to Theatre Bristol On Air through your favorite podcast service. We also invite you and the family to downtown Bristol this holiday to enjoy Theatre Bristol's Holiday Scenes window display, with appearances by Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the elves throughout the season. We have taken our season to the air because we want to keep drama and comedy, science fiction, and the classics, and more live performances entertaining you. as well as giving you opportunities to perform. We have been your community theater for 55 years now, and we hope you will help us continue this vital part of our community. We invite you now to give back so we can keep drama on and off stage. Your contributions help us sustain our nonprofit organization with family-friendly productions and education. Please give now, perhaps the cost of a ticket or two, at theatrebristol.org, and then share this production so that others may enjoy it. Thank you.